Today I am showing every pepper I'm growing this year here in Minnesota Zone 5A, from sweet bells all the way to some serious heat, plus how I start the peppers indoors, how spicy they really are, and whether peppers cross-pollinate in the garden. I do grow at a garden property away from home, so choosing strong varieties matter to me. Team replay. Let's have a conversation. What peppers are you excited to grow this year? Maybe you have some tried and trues and some are new to experiment with. Do you start from seed or do you buy all your plants from the nursery or the Amish or from a friend that are started for you? Share what you make with your peppers. I want to hear how you use your harvest, of course. So, how I start my peppers are indoors in March under grow lights. I use a pro mix with worm castings blend. I love using a heat mat for germination because those peppers need warm soil, 75 to 85 degrees to germinate, and then I can take them off the heat mat. A question that gets asked is, do peppers cross-pollinate? The short answer is peppers can cross, but only affects the saved seeds, not this year's fruit. The same species planted close together is going to cross-pollinate. Different species cross much less easily, but it can still happen. So what are the different species? Here is how they're spelled. I am sorry if I say them wrong. If you want to tell me how to say them in the comments, I will read them in practice. Capsicum annuum are your bells, pulbanos, cayenne, paprika, Anaheim. Capsicum chin chinenese, chinans. See, this is not, I don't know how to say these. Habanero and dill. Capsicum baccatum is something like your sugar rush peach. Do your own research with your peppers to figure out which species they are if you're wondering. So I'm going to show the peppers in order from least spicy to most spicy. So starting off right away, we have the bullnose pepper. This is what it's looking like. This one came from Baker Creek, which is rareseeds.com. The Scoville for this is 0. The days to maturity is 75, give or take. And the uses for this is stuffing, roasting, using raw, and then freezing for preserving. And a fun fact about this pepper, it's a colonial era heirloom. It has that ancestral story that you can seed save from. The original bullnose pepper was popular in early America and was grown by Thomas Jefferson. So this is the format we'll use going forward: the name, the Scoville, the days to maturity, and the uses. Coming up next, we have one of these from M.I. Gardner, a big red bell pepper, 0 Scoville, 75 to 85 days to maturity. It is great for fresh eating, freezing, using in dips. Anybody make a good pepper dip? I want to hear from you. What's your recipe? Of course, you can cook these. It's the classic grocery bell, and if you didn't know, they are high in vitamin C, actually. Next up is also from M.I. Gardner. This is a Sunbright Bell. Again, a 0 Scoville, 70 days to maturity. Early production is what I really need here in Minnesota. Great for pizza and salsa. It is reliable in short seasons. I need that. I grew those last year, those 3. This one is new for me this year, and I got it because of the name. King of the North. This came from Seed Savers Exchange. So this is a 0 Scoville. It is mature in 65 to 70 days. It's for cool climate gardens. You eat it raw, roasted, add to sauces and soups. Add it to hot peppers for a sweet balance to your hot sauce. I keep hearing this is excellent for Minnesota, and I love a good red pepper. I'm not so much a green pepper person. Let me know. I hear mixed results on if that's going to be a good thing or not, but we won't know until we try. This one comes from Johnny's. I've grown this before. This is called Carmen F1, so that's a hybrid. It has 2 parents. It is on the Scoville scale, 0 to 100, 75 days to maturity. It is good for blistering, roasting, frying. You can roast and peel them to store them in olive oil in the fridge. You can stuff them with rice and cheese, make a dip or sauce. This is an Italian corno style. So like the longer Italian fryer is how I describe it. This one I'm pretty sure is the same shape. and I'm not sure how to say it. This one's also from Johnny's that I have here. You could probably find these on all seed places. This is another hybrid, Nassau F1 0 on the Scoville scale. Wow, okay. 70 days to maturity, green to red harvest, great for your eggs and sandwiches. You can make a sweet pepper jelly with it, wrap it in bacon, stuff it with cheese for grilling. Heavy producer. I'm going to keep better track this year of how much I get for a harvest off each plant because we are doing a big experiment this year. This next one is new for me. This is called Sheep Nose Pimento from Seed Savers Exchange. Look at that pepper. Have you ever heard of a pimento? On the Scoville scale, it's 100 to 500. Days to maturity is 80. Apparently, you can make a cheese spread with this thing. You can stuff it, roast it, puree it, pickle it, make it into a mix with hummus, slice it with grilled eggplant mozzarella sandwiches with fresh basil. It is an Amish heirloom from Ohio. So I'm excited for that one. This next pepper I did grow last year and it worked. I grew an Avarsky pepper. I like the red peppers if you can't tell. On the Scoville scale, this is 500 to 1,000. Days to maturity is 80 to 90. Smoking and then drying is what this one's good for. You can blend that then into a powder for a seasoning or into a sauce by rehydrating it. You could make some type of pickled relish with it. It is a Balkan roasting pepper. Look that up. Lutschauer paprika I grew last year too, and I just put it in a soup the other day with squash and carrots. This is more spicy than the Avarsky. Even though the Scoville scale says the same number, 500 to 1,000, this one's more hot. Days to maturity, 75 to 80. Drying to create the authentic Hungarian-style deep red powder for stews, soups, and sauces. This is a Hungarian pepper. Next up is one that I grow every year. This is a Poblano. On the Scoville scale, it is 1,000 to 2,000. Days to maturity, 75 to 85. You can roast this thing, peel it for chile relleno. Oh, man. Tacos, enchiladas, turns into ancho chili powder when dried. I am sorry, I can't say that name for that food that you make with this pepper, but I grow it every year. There's a sauce you can make with it for chicken. This next one is new to me, and it was gifted to me by Robin Gardens, which I'll link her channel in the description. So it's in, your own home saved seeds device here. So Anaheim pepper has a Scoville rating of 500 to 2,500. It has 75 days of maturity. It is for fire roasting, tamale sauces, drying for powders, salsas. It's a hatch style chili. So we will see how that tastes. That's new for me. Now we're getting into some heat. Okay, everybody, this is pretty and it sounds delicious. It's the Sugar Rush Peach. I grew this last year. I still have some in the freezer. The Scoville for this is 25,000 to 50,000. The days to maturity is much longer than the other ones, 90 to 100. I put this in a ferment and then I blend it up into a hot sauce. You can also pickle it, turn it into a jelly jam, pepper jelly jam. You can stuff it with cream cheese and grill it. You can even make a cowboy candy with this if you've ever heard of that style of a brine. You can create a sauce for chicken. It is a fruity citrus flavor with your spice. Cayenne is always grown because it's so easy to just dry whole and put in a container for your kitchen in the winter. And guess what? It has all these benefits to it. You can buy cayenne peppers from almost any seed distributor. It is a 30,000 to 50,000 Scoville rating, 70 to 80 days. It's very prolific. You dry it and flake it, you powder it, you add it to curries. This one isn't for Tabasco, but I think there's one that someone sells for Tabasco making. You can use it with ginger and turmeric. You can make a topical ointment and cream with it. You can use it for help with digestion and metabolism and circulation. You can make a pest control spray with it. It is an extremely productive and useful pepper. Now, I need to ask you, what peppers do you use when you make a Thai sweet chili sauce? What peppers do I buy to do that? And what peppers go in a chili flake oil? Because I don't think it's just this. I think there's a specific species or variety. I need to know. Please put it in the comments so I can do it. Datil was given to me for free, and now it's on the Grow Every Year list. This is 100,000 to 300,000 Scovilles, 90 days to maturity. This is what I also ferment in my other pepper. There's a whole blend that I use to make hot sauce. You can also use it to make one of those pepper jelly jams. You can make a barbecue sauce with it. Obviously, adding some other things because that would be a really hot barbecue sauce. You can make relishes, condiments, something about mustard and mayonnaise. I've never done that either, but maybe you have. It's famous in St. Augustine, Florida. So if you want to look that up, you can. This next one is the hottest that I have. This one is from M.I. Gardner. This is a habanero Caribbean red, 300,000 to 450,000 Scovilles. Now you might be saying, that's not that hot. Well, it's hot for my life. This is a 90 to 100 days to maturity. This is another one that I add to my ferments to make the hot sauce. You can make a jerk marinade, a fiery salsa mix. You can also use this to do one of those fancy pepper jellies, jams. You can add these peppers to honey and infuse the honey and then put it in the fridge and use it for all kinds of fun things. It's fruity and it has an intense heat. Now, I am going to talk about this seed at the end. I'm going to quickly go over the peppers I'm not growing this year that I think are always on home gardeners' lists. I'm not growing a jalapeno, a Hungarian wax, a banana pepper, a shishito, or a serrano. A lot of it has to do with I know how to use the peppers I listed for my own benefit in the kitchen. And I also have family members that I cook for. They no longer can use the peppers that I listed on the screen, and I don't want to use them for my personal use in the kitchen. Those really hot ones that I listed that are much hotter than these, I know how to use those to make hot sauce that I can tolerate. But because of a medical condition, the person that used to eat these peppers can't have them anymore. So why would I grow an entire plant and get, a crate of peppers that I can't do anything with? So the shishito is very prolific. I planted way too many last year and I'm way burnt out on it. And these might come back into my garden at some point, but not this year. This year, I'm not just growing peppers, I'm running a garden trial. So I want to figure out which varieties actually perform best in my short season Minnesota garden. So I am watching these plants for fast maturity, consistent fruit set, production per plant, pest resistance, disease resistance, which we know has a lot to do with the soil, the ability to ripen fully outdoors. Finding the most dependable bell pepper for zone 5A is going to be my mission. So I want to be able to powder and dry peppers. I want to be able to have a plan for the preservation because there's 6 months of winter here. I need to be eating from the garden in the off season, the hunger gap season. So I need to have a plan for that. And that's where I'm getting big into the powdering, the drying, freezing, fermenting. I just want to know what kind of blends I can use to make things yummy, right? So last year, I saved seeds from a bell pepper, and I don't know which one, but it was growing right alongside all the different pepper varieties, which means, as I pointed out earlier in the conversation, that I have crossed peppers with each other and started what we call landrace or adaptation agriculture, which is talked about a lot in the gardening world. Landrace is a locally adapted plant population created by open pollination, naturally crossing things, saving the seeds year after year, and selecting the best performers for what color, what flavor, how much you want, how fast it grew or slow it grew. It's remembering my garden, my climate, my soil. The seeds tell a story when you keep saving them. We will see what the heat level is, the color, the shape, the plant behavior, and I'll save seeds only from the best plants each year from this specific one that I'm going to plant and label to slowly stabilize my own Minnesota adapted pepper. We need to have a quick pepper safety note though. Once you start growing hotter peppers, a few simple precautions make a big difference, okay? So when we get into those higher Scovilles, wear gloves when handling hot peppers. Hot peppers contain capsaicin, the compound that causes the heat. So you never want to touch your eyes or face. They transfer very easily. And ventilation matters indoors when you are roasting or dehydrating, especially if you're powdering and making into hot sauces. That capsaicin can become airborne. And I have heard many stories about people like pepper spraying themselves in their home. So keep the peppers away from pets and kids if they're at a certain age where they need help with that category. Clean the tools and cutting boards well after you're working with them in your kitchen. Every pepper grower learns this lesson at least once. I want to hear your stories. Share your hot pepper stories below. Share your tricks for de-hotifying your hands, right? I've heard of a few, but I want to hear from you what has worked if you forgot to wear gloves and you touched something. Now that the peppers are planned, it is time for tomatoes. So click into my tomato varieties video next to see everything I'm growing this year. Remember to grow every day in every way.